Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe, and also hope you will join us each and every day on our social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as Instagram, X, and of course on YouTube at Civic Center TV. Our top story today comes later on tonight. In fact, just a year ago, it was known as the Orchard Lake Road Showdown. Tonight, perhaps the Orchard Lake Road rematched. The MHSAA Division I District 25 Finals tonight at West Bloomfield High School, and close to home, some very familiar teams vying for that trophy. Our reporter Jake Schaff is live at West Bloomfield High School with more information. Jake.
Yes, Tyler, good morning. I'm standing here live outside of West Bloomfield High School, where things are pretty calm right now. Everyone's in classes, everyone's getting their learning done, but you are absolutely right. In just a few short hours, there is going to be a showdown taking place between West Bloomfield High School and Orchard Lake St. Mary's in one of the biggest basketball matches of the entire year. It is going to be electric. I know the kids are excited. Both teams are excited, and you're excited as well. You're going to be seeing the game up close, getting a taste of all of the action. It is going to be a sight to behold, and I can't wait to see what's going to come from all of it, Tyler.
Yeah, it's always exciting when you have two teams vying for a title that are powerhouses in the state of recent years. West Bloomfield been kind of growing that power in the last couple of years. Sort of struggled this season. A very different story for the defending champions from Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
That is absolutely right. West Bloomfield High School is currently ranked 177th in the state by Max Preps, whereas Orchard Lake St. Mary's is ranked number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is right. An 11-game losing streak was snapped in the semifinals, was snapped in the district semis win versus Walled Lake Central, 56-54. And WBHS has only won consecutive games once all season, from the December 28th to the 30th. So this could be the upset of the entire year. Does the madness of March come a day early for the Lakers here in West Bloomfield? That is the big question, Tyler.
And that is the question we will have answered tonight. An exciting evening at West Bloomfield High School. The tip-off is at 6 o'clock. We'll have our coverage on Monday right here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. So stay tuned for the Splash on Monday for even more information. Jake, thank you so much for that report.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tyler.
Live out at West Bloomfield High School. Jake Schaff along with us as we get ready for the big Orchard Lake Road rematch tonight. Tip-off at 6 o'clock. It is the District 25 title game. The winner of this game continues on to the regional semifinal a little bit further down the road over at Rochester Adams. That's an earlier game on Tuesday next week as the madness of March officially begins on March 4th. Orchard Lake St. Mary's, of course, looking to win their second consecutive MHSAA Division I state title after winning last year in a very exciting matchup at the Breslin Center. West Bloomfield hoping to come out with the upset tonight against their neighbors in the Eaglets, just a little bit north of them down Orchard Lake Road. The host of the event, of course, is West Bloomfield High School. Their principal, Eric Pace, joins us now as we preview the big game tonight. Eric, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Tyler.
Glad to have you on. It's a very exciting time of the year, as it always is near the end of these sports seasons, especially when our Lakers are in position to potentially compete for a state championship. But tonight, it kind of starts with a very familiar matchup between them, with their neighbors down the road from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and a rematch of what was their final game in 2024. So what's the vibe over at West Bloomfield High School as they get ready for this huge game tonight on their home floor?
A lot of excitement. We had a great end-of-game win the other night against Walled Lake Central, to win by 2 as time expired. We had our girls finish their regular season last night with a big win. We have our Winterfest Spirit Week next week, and it all culminates tonight with our matchup against Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
So when you have a matchup like this, where it's not only your kids competing for a state championship, it's one step closer to that dream, but now you also have, it's a school that's right down the road from you. A lot of these kids have known each other. Some have known each other, especially those in the basketball scene, for their entire life. How do you think that maybe adds to sort of the storyline behind this game tonight, and maybe the level of competition we'll see between two student sections that love to show out for their teams?
Yeah, absolutely. Just being a couple miles down the road and in the community together heightens that rivalry a bit. The students knowing each other, both in the student sections and on the court. And I think that's what makes high school sports and just the high school community so special, is that sense of competitiveness and rivalry and knowing everybody, right? The effort increases, the energy increases, and you usually get a good product out of it.
And so we had that exciting game earlier on this week, the district semifinal against another familiar foe in Walled Lake Central High School, a game that ended 56-54. Take us through that moment, too, for a team that had lost 11 straight games. Maybe the fans were even going into it saying, hey, look, it's exciting, we're in the playoffs, but we're mentally preparing ourselves to maybe have this be the end of the season. Then you have a 2-point victory, and all of a sudden you're hosting a district final. Take us through that experience from earlier on this week.
Yeah, so as you stated, our regular season record isn't what we were hoping for, but in typical fashion for West Bloomfield, with our athletic director, Eric Pierce, and our coaches for boys basketball, that's Arnett Jordan, they build together the toughest schedules in the state. And in doing so, we make sure that we have difficult competition that raises our game on a night-to-night basis. So we are better than our record would demonstrate just based on that alone. And especially from last year's district championship game where we played St. Mary's, and we took them down to the wire. That's the number 1 team in the state. We know they're good, but so are we. And we put our things together all at the right times. I think we got a shot.
And Coach Darren McAllister from the girls basketball team, defending champions in their own right, they start their playoff campaign next week. He talks all throughout the season about money in the bank. We're playing for March. We're not playing for today. We're not playing for tomorrow's game. Our record isn't necessarily what matters. What matters is picking up W's in March when it's win or go home. So how has maybe the boys team sort of embraced that mindset also under the leadership of Arnett Jordan, who it's easy to coach a team when they're really good on paper, they're winning games, and they got that excitement behind them. But you really see the character of a team from the players and the coaching staff when they face a little bit of that adversity and overcome it.
Yeah, I think that exposure to adversity is what makes a team, right? It's not just a collective of individuals. Our team is team-oriented. They're a group that will pick each other up. At any given night, somebody different is going to be the one that provides that spark or that effort that makes everybody else better. So, in boys basketball and girls basketball, knowing that all teams make playoffs, we really make sure that we build a schedule, like you said, that puts money in the bank for us to spend when it comes playoff time.
Eric Pace is with us. He is the principal of West Bloomfield High School. Very exciting night on the way over at WB. The West Bloomfield Lakers playing home team tonight on their home court against the number 1 team in the state according to the MHSAA's Division I ranking, and the number 4 team overall in the state of Michigan's basketball campaign by Max Preps and so many others in Orchard Lake St. Mary's. So take us through what you believe makes this team, and you have at West Bloomfield, ready to take on the defending champions tonight and come out with a huge upset to dethrone the champions, upset their neighbors, and continue a magical playoff campaign as we go into March.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They've put together a team of players that are really difficult to stop. They can score from anywhere, and they have tenacious defense. And we saw that in the district semifinal game that they played, forcing a lot of turnovers up at midcourt and really taking advantage of that. So for West Bloomfield, we have a team where we know we can score. We can put it in from three. We can drive the lane. We got a lot of size to put back rebounds. And, we just need to continue to keep our spacing and our discipline to make sure we're not turning the ball over and giving them extra opportunities. On the defensive end of the floor, we know we can run with them. We can get up at the rim with them. So if we stay to our game plan and execute that, I know it'll be considered an upset on paper, but I know we've got the athletes to compete.
Everybody's going to be looking at Trey McKinney, the McDonald's All-American. Sherrod Barnes from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, who just surpassed 1,000 career points for the Eaglets. But not many people are going to be looking at the big stat from the last few games. Curtis Britton shooting 52% earlier on this week from the field against Walled Lake Central. He's been scoring over 20 points a game, 23.3 points per game in the last three matchups for the West Bloomfield Lakers. They've got some ball players themselves. An exciting matchup tonight at West Bloomfield. What's your prediction? Of course, Lakers victory, but how do you think it's going to shake out?
Looking at the game script from the other night against Walled Lake Central, we got off to a real slow start and had to kind of climb our way back. I expect us to look a lot better right out of the gate. If we keep the pressure on and play our game, I think it'll be a close back and forth game. You'll see each team take the lead at some point. I think it's going to come down to the wire. And, I might have a little bias, but I predict that you'll see Kurt Britton once again coming through in the clutch.
I just like good basketball, and we got some
Absolutely.
great players out there, great ball players from the Eaglets, great ball players from the Lakers, and it's going to be a really well-coached game between Arnett Jordan of WB and the defending champion Todd Covert, coaching his alma mater at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Eric, thank you so much for being with us.
Anytime, Tyler. Go Lakers.
Go Lakers indeed. Tip-off at 6 p.m. at West Bloomfield High School. The West Bloomfield Lakers taking on the number one Orchard Lake St. Mary's Eaglets in a matchup full of stars. Trey McKinney, as I said, one of the best players in the state of Michigan, ranked number 18 in the ESPN 100 for the class of 2025. A five-star recruit heading to, much to my dismay, as a Spartan, the University of Michigan. Sherrod Barnes, Jaden Savory, a football champion from earlier this year at St. Mary's. And then West Bloomfield, Curtis Britton, 52% from the field against the Vikings of Walled Lake Central, 23 points per game over the last few games as well. And Chops Pittman was big on the stat sheet for the Lakers against the Vikings as well. 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Really interesting matchup as we head into the district finals tonight at West Bloomfield High School. This is also the last day of the month of February, so as we wrap up our Black History Month celebration, our team had a great opportunity to join many of you out at the Orchard Mall earlier on this month for the 2025 West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force Black Expo. Our reporter Kevin McIntosh has more.
Celebrating Black History Month, the 2025 Black Expo is bringing a vibrant showcase of Black-owned businesses, career resources, and family-friendly activities to West Bloomfield. I'm here at Orchard Mall talking to people about why they chose to participate in this year's event.
This feels really great because it gives me an opportunity to introduce myself to the community, whereas I was just doing everything in my house before. Now I get to come out and meet the people that I live with, and we've met a lot of people here so far, and it's a great experience for me.
People are helpful. So this is our first event, so a lot of people came and give us good tips and advice, so that worked out really good. I really appreciated that.
As the Greater West Bloomfield community came together to support local Black entrepreneurs, West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder and Treasurer Terry Weingartner reflect on how it all got started.
Well, I think we have a diversity task force, and the diversity task force was looking for a way to highlight Black businesses and anything that might be of interest to our diverse community and meet the needs. So at some point, I don't know if I can recall, we came up with the concept of Black Expo, and it took off right away. I mean, there was definitely a need. The vendors came out, and then the people came out.
We had some free vendor areas, and so we were encouraging minority businesses to come and set up tables for free, and that was just a portion of our event. And then you've heard about the force that was Sherry Ann. So Sherry Ann was like, I really like that idea. What if I created a whole Black Expo, something we had never thought about? And we're like, wow. And she's like, I would create it. And we're like, here you go. So we basically handed over all of our vendor names, and then Parks and Rec had some vendor names, and everyone pitched in. And then over time, it became this amazing event at the Orchard Mall. The first year it was a little smaller. We didn't have as many vendors, and not as many people knew about it. But we had such amazing artisans come that soon people knew all about it, and it's become a very popular event in West Bloomfield.
During the Black Expo, patrons paid their respect to Sherry Ann Winter, and some community members, like Mark Ingram of Bloomfield Toastmasters, shared kind words about her legacy.
Everybody knew her, and she touched a lot of lives here. She believed strongly in Toastmasters. She believes strongly in the Black youth here. She believes strongly in West Bloomfield School District. And she brought all of that together. She can't be replicated. I'm just trying to do my little part here today.
We got a chance to speak with local entrepreneurs Lucretia Shane and Emily Rucker to talk about how it feels to be supported in a diverse community such as West Bloomfield.
I am ecstatic. I used to live in West Bloomfield, in the 90s. And one thing about West Bloomfield, they're for the people. It's not just for, you have ethnic groups, you have all kind of people that's here. And to be here today to represent Black Expo here says it loud.
The fact that we are everywhere, and the community in West Bloomfield, I'm learning today, is so diverse. Even down to the high school, Black folks actually make up the majority in this minority neighborhood. So just seeing that we are present, that people actually care and do want to see us here and actually support us, that's a major thing, and we need to see much more of that in the world.
With so many opportunities to learn, connect, and celebrate, the Black Expo is always an event to look forward to. From Orchard Mall, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV.
It was a fantastic day out at the Orchard Mall for the 2025 Black Expo. But they've been doing this for a handful of years now at this point. It continues to grow, becomes a fan favorite of our community and other communities nearby here in Oakland County. So many interesting vendors that our team was able to speak to out there beyond who you just saw in that segment. So if you want to see more from the 2025 Black Expo, all of Kevin's interviews with many of the vendors and others from over at that event are on our website as we speak, civiccentertv.com. And of course, you can learn more about the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force and join in on all the fun activities and planning yourself at wbparks.org/diversity. As we head into the month of March, one of the earliest celebrations in the Metro Detroit area is one of the most beloved of the entire year. It's Fat Tuesday, otherwise known as Punchki Day across Lower Michigan, where we see communities like Hamtramck light up with a lot of excitement as people go to get some of those tasty treats in observance of Ash Wednesday and the beginning of the Lenten season. But we have a strong connection to those Polish treats right here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, and some history lessons behind them as well over at the Polish Institute of Culture and Research at Orchard Lake Schools here in Orchard Lake Village. Joining us now on the program for more information on some of that connection and history is their director, John Radzilowski. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Radzilowski.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this because it's one of the biggest celebrations in the Detroit area of the year. People look forward to what they call Punchki Day every single year, but it really connects back to Polish culture that made its way over to the Metro Detroit area in observance of this Christian holiday. Give us a little bit of that background.
Yeah, when Polish immigrants came here, obviously they brought a lot of those traditions and transplanted them here, Americanized them to some extent, but also shared them with their neighbors of many different ethnic groups. So if you go to any Polish bakery, you'll see people of all backgrounds lining up to get their pączki. So it's really become kind of a universal day. We like to say that on Punchki Day, everyone's a little bit Polish. And of course, it got its origins, as you mentioned, prior to Lent. Lent is a time of sacrifice and fasting and preparing for Easter. But also, the balance of that is to enjoy, to joy in creation, joy in all the gifts that we've been blessed with. And Punch Key Day is kind of a way to celebrate that, to remember all the gifts we've been given, and to celebrate the goodness of God and the goodness of life.
And we know here in southeastern Michigan that there's a wide variety of cultures. Here in Greater West Bloomfield, it is such a melting pot. But when people think of Paczki Day, when they think of Fat Tuesday, they tend to think of communities like Hamtramck. So how does our area, particularly Orchard Lake, maintain that strong connection to the Polish community in southeastern Michigan, but to Poland proper even today at institutes like yours?
Well, Orchard Lake Schools has been here in the West Bloomfield area since 1909, so we're pretty well established. We started out in Detroit in 1885 and moved here, so we've been a part of this community and a part of this part of the metro area for over a century, and so there's been a strong Polish presence here ever since. This has been a center for the Polish community. There are around 800,000 Michigan residents with Polish descent, so it's a pretty large group, especially in the metro area. And there's certainly this on the west side of the metro area. We've had a significant Polish presence as well. So this has been part of our tradition ever since.
Dr. John Radzilowski is with us. He is the director of the Polish Institute of Culture and Research at Orchard Lake Schools, joining us on today's edition of the Splash Live. You can find more information on the Polish Institute, picrol.org, picrol.org, or search Polish Institute Orchard Lake for more information on their programs all throughout the year. Dr. Radzilowski, people are going to be celebrating in all their own unique ways across our local area as we head into Fat Tuesday and throughout that day for celebrations across southeastern Michigan. But they wanted some insight on more traditional celebrations of this. Actually, it's a bit later on in the week, typically, I see from our notes here. It's usually Fat Thursday is a celebration, not Tuesday.
Yeah, in Poland, and that was a concession to Americans. Obviously, we're familiar with celebrations like Mardi Gras, which happens on a Tuesday. In Poland, they've already celebrated, or they've begun celebrating, and it's Fat Thursday, so it's the Thursday before Ash Wednesday. And so that's when they eat their paczki. We here in America, of course, on Thursday, on Fat Thursday, you can have your paczki. You can also have it on Tuesday. So you can enjoy it on both of those days. But, as a concession to the American customs, and that's why this is really a Polish-American celebration, is really adapted to, as a lot of immigrants who came to this country and continue to come to this country do. Their cultures are not just an import from the old country, but they're really adapted to American conditions. We live in a society with many different cultures, many different traditions, and so part of that that legacy is how do we explain ourselves to our neighbors of many different ethnic groups, and making a little adjustment from a Thursday to a Tuesday is a small concession, but that really emphasizes the importance of that pre-Lenten celebration, because everyone's already familiar with Mardi Gras, so we're just participating in that aspect of it. So it really is an American adaptation, but hey, you can celebrate on both days. It's all good. And then the paczki tastes just as good on Thursday as on Tuesday.
So I got to ask, how is your team over at the Polish Institute going to celebrate as we head into Fat Tuesday, head into Fat Thursday, and bring this celebration to be here in southeastern Michigan?
Well, we have on Tuesday, we are giving out, we have obviously a large student body here at our high school. So all the students are and the staff get at least one paczki, should they wish to have that. And we're also we've been taking orders from our Orchard Lake community for that as well. This weekend, we have a new exhibit opening up in our Galeria on biography and art, looking at how famous people are are commemorated through art and historical artifacts that are in our collection. So we welcome people to come and visit that. We're open on Sundays, the first Sunday of every month from 12 to 3. But you can also make appointments individually and for groups just by going on our website, contacting us, and setting that up with us. We are on a high school campus, so we can't just have walk-ins during the week when the school is running. But we're open to the people coming by as long as they can make an appointment with us. We're also having a classical music concert this evening, and we're having events. And you mentioned this is the lead up to Easter. So at the beginning of April, we're having an egg decorating workshop for pisanki. So you can go on our website and sign up for that as well. If you want to learn that art of how to make beautiful decorated eggs. That's another wonderful tradition that we like to carry on here. So really throughout the next a month and then thereafter, we continue to celebrate those cultural ties.
It's a great facility over there, your newly renovated Galleria. I was there for the soft opening just a little bit over a year ago. It's a fantastic space for multiple different kinds of events and celebrations. So if you're out there in the community and have not been able to get a chance to get over to that Galleria, highly suggested. In the meantime, you can find more events from the Polish Institute of Culture and Research at Orchard Lake Schools on their website, picrol.org. That's picrol.org. Dr. John Radzilewski is with us on the Splash Live, the director of the Polish Institute of Culture and Research at Orchard Lake Schools. Got to ask you before we leave. Pączki Day is on its way in Greater West Bloomfield and across the local area. Everybody seems to have their favorite flavor for those that partake each and every year. What's yours?
My favorite is one that's actually pretty hard to get here in the U.S. It's called rose hip, or it's called in Polish dzika rosa, or wild rose, and it's made with a kind of a wild variety of rose called rose hip. It has a really delicate flavor, but I like all the fruit flavors as well. But that's my favorite, and when and where I can get it, I never pass up that opportunity.
Well, John, we appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit more about our special connection to Pączki Day, to Polish culture here in the Greater West Bloomfield area, and wish you a happy holiday coming up as well.
Thank you, and you too.
Appreciate it. picrol.org is their website for even more information and historical perspectives on our local community, including our connections to Polish culture and our continuing connections to Poland from right here close to home in Greater West Bloomfield as well. And talking to John about Pączki Day, his favorite flavors, some of the traditions behind it, I got to make an admission. I might get quite a bit of hate for this from the local area. I've actually never had a pączki before, so I don't have a favorite flavor. If you don't like that, if you want to get after me, ihateyourshow@gmail.com is my comment section. The letter H, the number 8, yourshow @gmail.com. But let's not get into that. Let's keep it all friendly and lovely here in Greater West Bloomfield as we celebrate one of the most beloved holidays in Metro Detroit. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. Plenty more coming up across our Greater West Bloomfield area. Stay tuned. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Hi, I'm Chris Fry, Park Superintendent, West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations, Civic Center TV, on 1 million views on YouTube. Thank you for all you do in the community, and thank you for having me on The Splash throughout the season to talk about activities out in the parks. Chris Fry, proud to be 1 in a million.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew a girl so smart, so responsible, she must be a keeper.
What people are watching in West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you so much for being with us and, of course, for following us all across our social media. Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. You can also follow us on X and on Instagram at Civic Center TV. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. It's free, and if you hit the bell icon, YouTube at Civic Center TV, you'll also get notifications whenever we go live with The Splash or other special programs all throughout the year, and every single time we post something new for you right here close to home in Greater West Bloomfield. Whether you're online, communicating with friends and family, paying your bills, or doing some shopping, there's plenty of opportunity for those with some nefarious intentions to get your information and possibly steal your identity, your hard-earned cash, or both. And these online scams are becoming more prevalent as technology improves and more people become present online. Joining us for some helpful advice from our friends at the West Bloomfield Police Department is Detective Tim Lillard. Thank you so much for being with us, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks.
Good. Glad to have you on to talk about this because this is an issue that can affect anybody of any age that has some sort of connection to the web in 2025 and beyond. So presently, what are some of the more prevalent online scams that we're seeing affect residents in Greater West Bloomfield and nearby areas?
The biggest one right now is involving with WhatsApp. There's a lot of cryptocurrency, different platforms out there, and more coming every day. And here specifically in Southeast Michigan and in West Bloomfield, I mean, I've got numerous cases right now where people have gone on. One case where thought it was a dating relationship and then went over to investment stuff, and others that just propose themselves as investment for cryptocurrency and in hopes of these large returns. They're getting pretty sophisticated with having these websites showing other people potentially making all this money. They get people to invest it, and over a period of time, they keep investing more. Then when they go to try and take money out, they realize they're being scammed because they're getting asked for paying of fees from it, and it can't come from your proceeds. It's got to come from your personal account, and in reality, the whole setup is fake.
And so what are we seeing be maybe different now versus in past years as these scams sort of develop? Because as you said, people are getting a little bit more sophisticated as time goes on with the development of these scams. How is that manifesting presently?
Well, like in these platforms that they're creating, they're showing other people that are, and some of them are truly people that are investing, but unaware of the scam. And what's happening is they see these big paydays of, you invest 20, 30, 40,000 or more. And in a short period of time, your account is now up to 200,000. And so they start putting more money in. And I mean, there's people that have put $1 million in and that money's gone. They're not in the country, but they're using Telegram and WhatsApp to communicate and getting people to transfer money overseas.
And so as people get into these situations, they do so mostly innocently from the victim's point of view, trying to better their investment portfolio, make good for their family, pay their bills, whatever the motivation may be. From the scammer side of things, what sort of is the step-by-step process that we typically see them taking that turns this from what seems on the surface like an innocent communication maybe between people in a budding friendship to ultimately being a large-scale robbery?
For sure. Yeah, no, rarely are they doing the romance stuff now, but it is still happening.
Of course.
And then getting them to invest. It's like there's these investment groups on WhatsApp and Telegram, and they're never meeting anybody. They're never physically talking to somebody. No voice or video, and they're transferring money from their legitimate accounts into these other accounts through WhatsApp and Telegram. And they are elaborate where, like I said, when they try and withdraw money at some point, they're told you have to pay these fees because you've earned this money, but it can't come from your earnings. And I mean, they have like actual like trading lines going across their screen showing cryptocurrency moving from one place to another. So it looks legitimate enough, but in no way is it. There, like one case alone is Cambodia, where it turns out they're at, and other, countries way outside of West Bloomfield. And people are just getting devastated because they're putting sometimes college money for their kids in there. They're very sophisticated in what they're doing.
And these are serious situations too. Like you said, these can affect people's immediate finances, their long-term finances, college funds, retirement funds. It could bankrupt you immediately depending on the scale of these scams. And so before it gets to that point where someone's in too deep, what should they be looking for as potential signs that they may be falling victim to a scam before it's too late?
Well, the very first indicator is legitimate companies aren't going to be, doing investing through WhatsApp and Telegram. There's legitimate platforms out there for doing it, like, Coinbase being probably one of the biggest ones. They're regulated, they're marketplaces. The government has things in place to make sure that funds are being tracked and legitimate people are doing it. So the biggest thing is they'll claim they're like part of Morgan Stanley and other investment companies. But as you know, these companies aren't going to be doing investment portfolios through WhatsApp and Telegram.
Detective Tim Lillard is with us from the West Bloomfield Police Department as we talk about scams that are affecting people here in Greater West Bloomfield and in nearby areas, particularly when it comes to cryptocurrency. But they mirror and they're parallel to so many other different kinds of scams that we see targeting people's personal information. Even lately, people have received mailers in the Greater West Bloomfield area saying that they have overdue bills for GFL Environmental, which hasn't been the trash and recycling service for our community in several months. Now it's over at Priority Waste. And so a lot of times you get these messages, whether it's snail mail or it's email, and it looks really legit. How do you sort of decipher between when you should be providing some information to a legitimate entity and someone's trying to take that information from you?
Sure. First of all, anytime you're receiving information, you're not requesting it, question it. Don't ever click links in any type of text message or emails. Always contact these places that you deal with, or if they claim to be from a bank or a legitimate source like Morgan Stanley, call the numbers that you know. The Amazon accounts, did you authorize this charge? If not, call this phone number or click this link. And these are always going to be scams. Amazon's not going to send you that kind of stuff. IRS doesn't send you tax bills or threaten you with jail. Always contact online the legitimate companies through a phone number that you know, not what's been sent to you.
Great advice from the West Bloomfield Police Department. You can find even more of this advice on ongoing scams and others that may arise, other tactics that may arise in our community and beyond. Follow them on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD for even more information. Detective Lillard, with only a couple more minutes left with you on today's program, but for people that do end up in these situations, whether they catch it early on or they catch it after it is a bit too late in the process and they've fallen victim to these scams, what steps can be taken and what can law enforcement do to help alleviate these scenarios, if anything at all?
Well, first of all, don't be afraid or ashamed. Very educated people, all walks of life, fall for these scams, including people in cybersecurity. Report it. That's the first thing. And then go on to ic3.gov, which is the letter I, the letter C, and the number 3.gov. Report it there. That's run by the FBI. And other government agencies, and it allows them to collect all this data from around the country, seeing the trends, and then hopefully picking up the case and trying to track them down.
And of course, when those scams are happening online and those funds have been moved around out of your bank accounts, in some scenarios, it can be really tough, if not impossible, to get those funds back in part or especially in full. So all the more reason to take some of this advice from Detective Lillard and the West Bloomfield Police Department to heart, and keep yourself aware of some of these ongoing tactics being used by very sophisticated people who are becoming a lot more skilled at enacting these scams as time goes on. Detective Lillard, anything else for us today?
And just, get in, make the reports. Don't ever pay, they'll threaten to send other information out and that. Don't ever pay that. Get law enforcement involved. We can help. We have resources and to help try to mitigate the loss or the exposure.
Always better to get some help from our local law enforcement when something doesn't seem quite right, to, at the very least, help yourself out, but possibly help many others not fall victim to these scams and these scammers across our local area and far beyond, trying to take your information and your money. Detective Lillard, thank you so much for your time today.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. More sage advice can be found from the West Bloomfield Police Department on their Facebook page at West Bloomfield PD. All about public safety, but also protecting your information, your identity, your bank accounts, and so much more. Facebook.com/West Bloomfield PD. One of the hallmarks of the Greater West Bloomfield area is finding new and interesting ways to connect all the different walks of life that make Greater West Bloomfield special. That includes our many different faith communities who often come together to share ideas about building bridges between so many different sectors of our community. Reporter Jake Schaff has the story.
Every month, members of the Greater West Bloomfield Faith and Community Alliance get together to form a sense of unity and connection throughout the entire community of West Bloomfield, building these bonds and helping to make the four communities better and better every single day, even for those of different faiths who come together for a greater purpose.
This organization represents the heart and soul of Greater West Bloomfield. The members of clergy with members in the community come together with a common interest. How can we connect? How can we collectively add greater value, greater insight, and understanding across the entire community?
This was my first experience with being part of a group like this in my professional capacity. I do attend church in my personal life, so I'm familiar with the faith-based organizations and the way they operate and the thought processes. But this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to participate in something like this through a work setting, and it was really nice to see a wide array of different personalities and backgrounds, and people from different walks of life come together and have the same goals in mind.
What is it like to communicate with these big community heads in this way?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's so much fun to get to spend time with all of these wonderful, amazing people who are spending their lives leading communities of care and mission and taking care of other folks. It's been a wonderful privilege. It's not just a matter of doing what Methodists do, but when we work together, we can accomplish so much more, have a bigger impact, and come to a greater understanding of who one another is, so that as human beings that are trying to just be the best that we can be in this community, we can do that better when we're working together and coming to common understandings of who we are.
It's great because, to be able to discuss various things that are the same, really. I mean, we're all people, and how we approach, God. Three of the religions come from the same source. So, it's nice to meet the other leaders and their people and find out more about them and how we relate. We're so much more alike than different. And if we look at the likeness or the sameness instead of how we're different, then we can do a lot more for the community and beyond.
I think because the example that we show, it shows people that they can come together too, and it's okay if you're different and come together. You're not always going to agree, but you can find some places of agreement and make an impact on not just your community, but the wider world.
It's another fantastic way to help promote that great sense of community bonding everywhere you look. and a great way to peek inside and see more of the ins and outs on how these communities are run, even in some ways you wouldn't expect. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Appreciate the report, Jake, and appreciate the work that the Faith and Community Alliance continues to do across our community. They've met for a number of years and have played instrumental roles in different events and initiatives that bring so many people in the Greater West Bloomfield community together. And it's always been nice in years past to see on occasion when they meet right here in our building at Green Media Center, sometimes right here in this very studio, enacting some of those initiatives right here across our community and beyond. Building bridges, building connections. That's one of the things that Greater West Bloomfield is all about. As the winter sports season at West Bloomfield High School and others across our local area come to a close, spring sports are already underway. And of course, here in Southeast Michigan, we love our Detroit Tigers close to home. We love our West Bloomfield Lakers. More on their baseball season coming up. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. What people are watching in Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft, bringing you the latest from across the Greater West Bloomfield area as we say farewell to February and head on into March with some exciting things down the pike across Greater West Bloomfield, including in West Bloomfield High School sports as the prolific West Bloomfield Lakers baseball team gets ready to take the diamond in the coming weeks and begin their regular season. Joining us for some insight on their 2025 ball club is the head coach of the West Bloomfield Lakers varsity baseball team, Josh Bernberg. Coach, thank you so much for being with us.
Tyler, appreciate you having me on as always. Great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you on. There's so much excitement behind baseball now as we see football is out of the way and on the professional level, certainly on the high school level, it's several months behind us. And any time that the Detroit Tigers start showing up for their spring training, it really becomes baseball season in the Metro Detroit area. For our high school kids who are getting ready for the baseball season, how does that sort of become that first motivator as they get ready to try out for the varsity team and get ready for that first game?
Absolutely. Besides just the Tigers being at spring training now, I think that kids going on social media and seeing colleges playing baseball, specifically down south, obviously, I feel like it's just that season is close, and it feels like once you start seeing that, high school baseball is right around the corner, and we're about to head into March here. So, it's things start to get real really fast.
And so as you get ready for the season, what do those opening weeks of your season from tryouts to that preparation look like? Because in Southeast Michigan, we kind of got a tale of two sides. It's either still the winters overall still playing a factor. We got snow on the ground, it's ice cold outside, or it's bright, sunny, and warm like it's been lately, and it's perfect baseball weather.
Exactly. It's hard to predict how that's going to be. Hopefully, fingers crossed, by March 10th, which is our first day of tryouts. I'm hoping we're outside. We've been really lucky at my time at West Bloomfield. I think we've been outside for tryouts 99% of the time. And having a fully turfed field really helps with that. And I'm hoping that we're going to be outside again. If it's above 32 and it's doable to go out there, we're going to go outside just because we know how much more benefit we're going to get from being out there as opposed to being indoors in our gym.
And we know that West Bloomfield High School has had so many different periods of success across sports. It's been a soccer school. It's been a basketball school. More recently, over the years, it's been more of a football and a basketball school combined. But it's really becoming a baseball powerhouse, too. What do you think's been the difference maker for your team in recent years, becoming one of the powers here in Southeast Michigan?
We've been lucky. We've had some really good players come through here, and they're West Bloomfield kids that are born and raised in the city. And luckily, West Bloomfield High School is where they're supposed to go to school. And we've just had some phenomenal kids that just happen to be really good baseball players as well. And I think we started to win some games, and kids started to get addicted to that feeling and wanted to make sure they did everything possible to keep on winning. And usually when you win at a clip that we've been winning at, you get a lot of guys that end up going and playing college baseball. And we've been fortunate to have that, and we got a lot more coming here this year as well.
I kind of talked about it previously, referring to the basketball team. It's kind of easy to set the tone when you're winning. It's really tough to set the tone and keep that tone when you're losing. But in between that, when you got a team that's been growing and has been successful and you're building that culture, you sort of have that benchmark that you're looking for in a varsity player at every position on the field and even in the dugout. So for those that are interested and are going to be trying out in early March to join the West Bloomfield varsity baseball team, what are some of those qualities that you're looking for that define Laker baseball culture?
Of course. I mean, obviously, you want good players, but there's a lot more that comes with it than just being a really good baseball player. We want good teammates. We want kids that do well in the classroom, and we want kids that want to be coached. This is a really good program that's won a lot of games lately, and there's a certain type of kid that we're looking for, and we want kids that are selfless, that really care about winning, root for their teammates, and want to be coached at a high level, because we're going to hold everyone accountable. The standard's kind of been set around here on what we're looking for, and it's worked for us, and it's translated into a lot of wins. And if you're looking to be a part of a program that operates that way, then this is a really good program to be a part of.
And of course, none of that success can come without a little bit of support from the families of the players and, of course, from the West Bloomfield High School community. So what are the best ways that people can support this Laker baseball team as it continues to grow and hopefully has another very successful season in 2025?
Yeah, our support has been phenomenal. At our varsity game specifically, we got a really good turnout. The families have been super supportive. I think that it's easy to get behind a winner, and people tend to show up more for teams that have been doing well, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of success here in the last 4 years, and we hope to continue that into year 5. I think the more you win, the more people show out, and the more families that want to support your program. So I've been really lucky as far as that goes. Not only have we had great players, but great families as well that have been super supportive for the program and really give us a good home atmosphere, because we play a lot of our games at home, and it really, really helps our kids and getting prepared to play every single day.
More information on the West Bloomfield Lakers baseball team, including tryout information, can be found on westbloomfieldathletics.com. Coach Bernberg, before we let you go, what other advice maybe do you have for some of the younger players who are getting ready to come out this season for the first time, those freshmen, those returning JV players, and even middle schoolers and younger who are looking forward to, in the future, being on the Laker varsity baseball team?
Yeah, for the kids that are coming out this year, you got to do something that's going to be able to separate yourself to tryouts and be able to catch the coach's eye. So we got our varsity, JV, and freshman coaches at every tryout, and we're all watching, and we're looking for someone that's going to impress us and that's going to catch our eye. So got to think about as a kid what you're going to do to be able to separate yourself. There's so many different ways in baseball you can do it. A lot of them are on the field, and some of them are off the field. Just being a great kid, a great teammate, and like I said, the willingness to be able to be coached at a high level. And then for our middle school guys, we've had a lot of middle school kids that come support us at our games. Maybe they have an older brother or cousin that's on the team or in the program, or maybe they just want to come and watch some good baseball. And I think that watching us play gives the kids a very good idea of what the program is going to be like and what the expectations are. So it's been really cool as far as that goes, the support we've gotten from, like you had mentioned before, families and also kids that are up and coming in the West Bloomfield community as well.
All important qualities and all important to get that support out at the Diamond at West Bloomfield High School all throughout the season and, of course, on the road. Head coach Josh Bernberg of the Laker baseball team, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks as always, Tyler. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well. You can find more information on the Laker baseball team and all of their other spring sports with tryouts coming up and seasons, in some cases, already underway. WestBloomfieldAthletics.com. Close to home, right next door to us, over at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Plenty of fun events that all surround learning and, of course, reading and all those different books and resources that are available, but also some tasty treats and meals on their way from restaurants all across Greater West Bloomfield. It's all part of their What's Cooking series. And joining us for more information is the president of the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Johnny Roquemore, on today's edition of the Splash Live. Thank you so much for being with us. Here to tell us more is the president of the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, Johnny Roquemore, with us on the Splash Live. Thank you so much for being with us, Johnny.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on to talk about what's cooking, because people may go to the library in the evenings throughout the year and every now and then smell something really good and wonder if maybe someone left the break room open when they were warming up their dinner over there. But in fact, it's something that's open to the public, and it's an ongoing series.
Yes, it is. It's something that's been happening since the early 2000s, approximately 2008, where we feature local restaurants and restaurateurs. And we also provide tasty samples for our Friends members and the community.
So how does this fit the vision of the Friends of the Library? We know that you're really focused on engaging activities and a variety of activities throughout the year, but you don't typically think about cooking as being an activity that you do at the library. So why this?
We chose this event particularly because we find that food is something that binds people, that creates bonds. And food is something that people can share and talk about and do together. So the original, the people that originally set up the What's Cooking program, I think it was Julia Spina. She started hosting different restaurants that were new to the community and restaurants that had been around that perhaps people weren't aware of. And it really did super well. So that's where we are now.
And so how does this sort of ongoing series enhance the sense of connection between residents of the community and, like you said, some of these restaurants that are right here in Greater West Bloomfield are very nearby, getting a chance to all kind of connect together and get to know the people behind them?
Yes, because when you're driving, for instance, down Orchard Lake, you're in the Strip, you don't always notice all of the wonderful restaurants, that are to your right or to your left, because you're paying attention. You're trying to drive carefully. So what we do and what our committee does, especially Michaela and Elaine, they go to different areas looking for these restaurants that people oftentimes don't notice. They go in, they look at the setup, they may speak to the owners, and then they report back to me, or they share the information with me and other committee members. And then I go and speak to the owners to see if they'd be interested in participating.
And so as they come on in and they join the What's Cooking events all throughout the year, what sort of activities do they end up engaging in? Because it's one thing to bring samples and help people get to know what they'd be ultimately ordering when they go to your restaurant. But now how do you advance beyond that?
It really creates a sense of community, because we have so many different types of restaurant in the West Bloomfield community and surrounding area, that it brings all types of friends together. When our presenter, for instance, we start our program by introducing the presenter, and then they present a sample and they demonstrate how to prepare this. And often what they'll do is they'll select their favorite thing on their menu, and they prepare that step by step. And oftentimes we find that new chefs or old chefs, or sometimes they're afraid. Some people are afraid to try something new. So that this eliminates that whole process of fear. Some people say, well, I can't even follow a recipe. But we find that when someone's demonstrating it hands-on, it's a lot easier to do. And people walk away having a very positive experience and having tasty food and meeting new friends.
And that's ultimately what this is all about and what all the programs through the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library are all about. Johnny Rokamori is the president of the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, joining us today on the Splash Live. And so ultimately it's all about getting the people of the community involved and engaged in these activities, getting to know their neighbors, getting to know some of the businesses. So obviously if it's been going on this long, it's been successful. The people enjoy it. But from your interactions with the community, what about What's Cooking do you think brings people back and keeps them being engaged in this program throughout the many years?
It's the element of surprise. You know, it's like when you go to Costco, you look at things on the shelf and you say, I wonder how that tastes. We remove all of that. People drive by restaurants, sometimes they don't drop in. By giving them a taste, just of what that restaurant is offering, it does several things. First of all, it keeps our community lively. It keeps all those businesses in different malls, strip malls. It keeps them thriving. It keeps the traffic moving, which is something we truly need. If you notice during the pandemic, when all the restaurants were forced to close down, we really had an opportunity to see just how vital restaurants are to a community. They provide foot traffic, they provide interest, and they provide very wonderful experiences, because what's more fun than eating? And eating your favorite foods or eating new foods. So yes, we need restaurants. They are vital to the growth of our community.
And Johnny, we only have another really minute with you on the program today, but really want to conclude this by asking you how this really does align and capture the essence of what the Friends of the Library is all about as they put this programming together and collaborate to advocate also for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library's 2 branches.
Yes, the Friends of the West Bloomfield Public Township Library, what we do is we support the library in every way. We provide programming, we provide funds that support the library, the Greater Library's vision. So what our program also does, for instance, we're going to be featuring Al Chile Mexican cuisine or restaurant on March the 12th. Programs like that bring people from every walk of our community. It's not specific to a particular group because we all like different types of food. And our vision of the Friends is to engage our entire community. That's why we have such a variety. And we're going to be sponsoring, we're going to have a tea party at the end of May. So we're going to be doing a lot of different things that interest a lot of different people, which is our entire mission, engaging the entire community.
More information on the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library can be found on WBLIB.org, including their events all throughout the year on the library's calendar. Johnny, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure to talk with our friends at the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, especially when they have such exciting things going on all throughout each and every week right here in Greater West Bloomfield. Before we let you go, this week we celebrated National Retro Day, and so did the West Bloomfield Police Department, giving you a look back at some of their history with officers of past and present, some of their past graduating classes from the Police Academy, even a look at the old West Bloomfield Town Hall and some of their vehicles from throughout the years. Don't tell the good people over at the fire department, however, about those red and white vehicles the police used to drive around in over here in Greater West Bloomfield. Definitely wouldn't want a little bit of friendly bickering over social media going on between the two of them over the weekend as we head into what's hopefully going to be some beautiful days here in Greater West Bloomfield. That's what I am, just an agent of chaos. Leave something out there as we wrap up the week right here on the Splash Live. We thank you for tuning in each and every day. Encourage encourage you to stay with us on social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, YouTube, X, and Instagram at Civic Center TV. Big thank you to our entire team, Jake Schaff, Calvin Brown, Ryan Younglove, and Kevin McIntosh. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Keefe. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.